as we do each and every week, we look ahead to the big movie of the following week. So Napoleon is on the horizon. It is the latest adaptation of, the life and times of one and only Napoleon. Um, but this time Apple like went to Ridley Scott, said, "Here, have hundreds of millions of dollars, make this
Yeah.
like a historic epic." And it looks like so far, from the trailers at least, that with somebody like Joaquin Phoenix joining the movie, I mean, that's usually always a vote of confidence. And then with someone like Ridley Scott, who's made some of the best movies of all time, although his recent track record is a little spotty, it seems like this is going to be a good movie. However, the reviews have started to come out, and Angelina, it looked like the reviews aren't very favorable. So like, are you now hesitant to go see this movie, or like, what are you expecting from Napoleon?
I mean, you just expect so much, right? Like you've got you have Ridley Scott here, right? Like huge, huge, huge. You have Joaquin Phoenix, who has won so many awards. He's an incredible actor. He's playing a prolific real life character. And we want to see this brought to life. But the critic reviews, I was reading them today just before the show, you guys. Critic reviews are at 66% right now. This movie has a runtime of 2 hours and 38 minutes, so it's a little bit long for a biopic. And the critic reviews are not good. Like one of the worst critic reviews I saw here, it's so sad. It's a film that, for all of its attempts to show us the man behind the military genius, only fully comes alive on the battlefield. Some other people were like, we should just wait to go see it on Apple Plus. Like, really not good. And I was just so excited to see this movie. So now I'm kind of like, I definitely want to see it to see where the critics were very correct, because sometimes critics, as they should be, like, are very critical to a point that sometimes I feel like the audience score and the critics score don't always match up.
Yeah.
Also, my cat just decided to start going ham on her food over here. So when you hear that crunching in the background, that's her. It's the Animal House over here today. My dog just
I was gonna
hedgehog like 5 minutes ago.
Well, you could always bring her on to because you've done
Yeah.
that before. It's so cute. Like I would love to.
Little guest
We
star.
can hang out together. Talk about Napoleon.
Yeah.
But Roland, what are your expectations of
Oh,
there
that's
you
so
go.
adorable. I love it.
I'm so
I
distracted
think
now.
I think a Napoleon movie, yeah, get distracted while I say my piece.
Yeah,
I think
ahead.
the Napoleon movie is always going to be a little curse. Stanley Kubrick, if you guys all know, spent years trying to make a Napoleon movie happen. He had like shelves and like cases of all this research for Napoleon. And it never happened because there was no studio that would want to buy it. So there's always going to be some sort of kind of curse when there's like an esteemed director that's trying to make that. And I think it's just going to kind of carry over. But then again, it's probably going to be super long and boring because Kubrick can be like that.
It happens.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think this is going to be a real acting showcase, and I think the biggest thing is probably going to be historical inaccuracies. Because if you're getting ratings like that, it's going to be one of the two. It's a performance.
None of the critic reviews have to do with accuracy whatsoever. They just
Really?
say focuses. No, not a single one of them that I read has anything to do with inaccuracies. They all mention it just shows us like one side of his life when he was like ruling like multiple countries, a huge amount of people. And that was like the biggest thing. They were like, it just seems like a very one-sided story, and it kind of glazes over so much. So
yeah, just a slice of life.
Well, to be fair, I don't think you can really, because Napoleon
big ask, right? Like
he lived a very prolific life, right? Like there's so much that it's almost like, for example, we have had so many movies on Princess Diana, like, and the newest one that came out was literally only about 1 weekend in her life, right? Like because like how can you like take the entire lives of, like, or even Elvis, the movie Elvis? I'm sure they skipped across a ton of stuff. In Bohemian Rhapsody, like, they showed the important stuff, and they were like, our big finale is going to be the AIDS concert. Like that's where we're going to end it. And they spent like probably a good 20-25% of the movie on the concert. But like, you know where your priorities should be. And having said that though, and without seeing the movie as of yet, I will say like Ridley Scott has had a pretty spotty record recently. I mean, for all of his hits over the years, if you look at the movies he's worked on recently, I think outside of The Martian, I can't really think of any other movie that was like universally applauded for being like one of the best movies of the year. I mean, he's had a lot of divisive like, you know, movies come out in recent years. So maybe it's just as a director, he's just past it. I mean, I hate to say that about somebody who's probably going to be more successful in their careers than I would ever be, but like he hasn't really done all that well recently. Like, can you guys point to a movie other than The Martian recently that Ridley Scott directed that you're like, that was a really good movie?
He's been doing a lot of period pieces lately. So that's I think that's kind of it.
House of Gucci.
The House of Gucci I thought was pretty decent.
Yeah.
But Death on the Nile was obviously bogus. And I didn't see
that wasn't Ridley Scott though.
I was gonna say, was that really
that was Kenneth Branagh.
No, I'm looking at his I'm looking at Ridley Scott, like his stuff. Death on the Nile, he was a producer.
Right. I'm talking about as a director
and the producer.
Okay.
And then A Hunting
in Venice. Period pieces.
Okay, so he wasn't director.
Yeah, those are all period pieces.
Yeah.
There's a connection. There's a pattern.
And
period
a lot of
pieces.
his most recent stuff, he's just been a producer and exec producer on stuff.
Yeah.
He hasn't been directing a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean he had a show on HBO Max that I think did really well recently. But it got canceled after a couple of seasons, and I thought it, you know, probably got canceled a little bit too soon. His recent Alien movies were like all seeming like each one, like Prometheus especially, I did not like that one. And now they're rebooting, I think, the franchise, or they're continuing with it, but without Ridley Scott in the director's chair. And, you know, for a director who, like I said, has given us some of the best movies of all time, like the work that he's did. What was the Russell Crowe movie, A Good Year, I think it was called? Yeah, that was a fantastic movie. And like he's worked with Christian Bale, some of the best actors. He's working, I think now, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't he working on the second Gladiator movie? Like that's his next project.
Yeah.
So look, with this Napoleon movie, it's a big Apple production. Like Apple is, you know, entered the arena of movies, and I think they've got some great stuff on the way with Argyle. What was the other recent one that Apple put out that we went to? The Killers of the Flower Moon. You know, I think whereas Killers of the Flower Moon is being looked at as one of the best things Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Lily Gladstone have ever done in their careers, if not the best thing they've ever done. Napoleon, based on the reviews, it looks like it might be falling short of the mark. But hey, look, Joaquin Phoenix says Joker, Folie à Deux coming out soon, next year, right?
Yeah.
And Gladiator 2, which, hey, America's Daddy, like, you know, Pedro Pascal, like he's gonna be a part of that. So
you say it so like straight face that I can't not laugh at.
Yeah. I'm just following up with, like, you know, if it's true, you can't, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it is true.
It is true, exactly. I don't want to make it sound like it's not true.
You are America's Daddy. We are here for it.
All right. Well, are you guys gonna go watch Napoleon? Because I mean, how long is this movie? Did you guys look up like runtime on this thing? Because
it's 2 hours and 38 minutes. So it's a little hefty.
Yeah. I mean, also I've heard some people complain like, oh, like Vanessa Kirby looks way too young to be kind of playing his like love interest in the movie. I was always wondering, like, was this meant to be historically accurate? Like, that part never surprises me, because quite literally, like, Marie Antoinette was like 14 when she was promised to her king. Like, we have to think about the fact that during that era, basically everyone who was marriage material of any kind was like under 20 years old. So
women-wise,
you're not wrong.
Women-wise.
We had a great conversation about that for Killers of the Flower Moon. I think Bridget and you were discussing that in detail. Yeah, go check the review out, guys. I think that was a fantastic review. You guys really went into like a lot of the cultural implications and, of course, like what the movie talked about. But next week we're going to be talking about Napoleon. I think Bridget's going to be back on the show. We're going to be talking about all the upsides, downsides, like whether it's good or bad or ugly of Napoleon. And I personally thought that Vanessa Kirby's character is one of the better parts of the trailers for the movie. So I'm excited to see, you know, what everybody on screen puts out. It looks epic. You could definitely tell the money went into it.
in another period piece, because she broke out originally on The Crown, and I thought she was one of the best parts of that, the initial like 2 or 3 seasons of The Crown. I haven't gotten to see her in a serious character since, so I'm definitely excited for that. Dan, you are.
I'm muting myself again. Well, I was gonna say, thanks, guys. With that, I think we can probably, call it a show here. It's been a fantastic episode. I'm so happy to see Roland back on here. It's been a long time.
Thanks for
since
joining us.
you were on the show.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna be making a graphic with Naylor on there somewhere, and that will be like just for you next time you're on the show. But
my call sign.
Yes, your call sign. Yeah, we got to bring those back. Those were but yeah, until next time, guys, go out there and watch a fantastic movie, and then come tell us all about it. We'll be talking to you about Napoleon. We might even go check out Wish, the new Disney movie celebrating the 100th anniversary of Disney, and then we'll probably look at all the other Marvel and DC news as well. So until then, go out there and have a great week ahead. We'll see you next time.
Bye.